'Twas the stream before Christmas, and all through the land our hosts found their PCs with devices in hand. They thanked their audience for joining, even as the holidays came near. It's hard to make time during this time of year. I have no idea how to put this next part in meter. This is the Ubuntu Touch Q&A, the UBports Foundation show discussing the development of Ubuntu Touch and our community's questions. Go ahead, call me a cheater. Alfred said a warm hello as he came down the flue.
Hello.
Oh, and Marius, he was there too.
Oh, hello.
A roundup of news and questions they had, so it's time for Dalton to stop stalling with poetry that's bad. Hi everyone, let's do this. If you want to see if your device is supported by Ubuntu Touch because you like my poetry and you want to have my code too, you can go to devices.ubuntu-touch.io to see if your device is supported. If yours isn't on the list, it's going to need a custom image made for it. You can go to the porting documentation at docs.ubports.com/porting to learn more. Well, hello, folks. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks
I'm
for having
very glad to see you again, even if Marius can only join from a phone.
I'm here.
But we are going to talk about a lot of stuff today. Let's get into it. I think that you would actually be best to take our first topic, Alfred. Why don't you talk about what's been happening over in Xennialand?
Sure, yeah. So, Xennialand, a bunch of things have landed in Xennialand. So, first of all, MMS patches are finally in. So, thanks a lot to Jacek and Lionel Deboeuf. And if I may say it again with D. This allows us to finally have a re-download button or try again button whenever MMS comes in and it fails to download it. So there were a bunch of components that needed to be changed, a lot of pieces that needed to be, made to work together, but it's finally here. And hopefully it works better for everyone, especially those on Android 9 and lower phones. Really, thanks a lot, because this is very important for us. Then the next one is MediaHub client. So for those that don't know, MediaHub is what manages our video and audio playback on the device. And Alberto has changed the MediaHub client library to now be fully implemented in Qt, C++. And it will allow, it's the first step basically to allow simultaneous playback of videos in the future, so that things like teleports can profit off of that, scrolling through a bunch of chats with a lot of video in it and having them autoplay. That's the outlook for the future. It's not there yet, but it's the first step. So the next one, third one, is Sensor FW for Android 9 by Novi. It now features magnetometer and compass supports. So it was basically just one plugin missing from the packaging that needed to be added, but it's here now. And I've played around with it. It works quite well. And from what I've been told, it also works with Waydroid, so that Google Maps, for example, or any map application on Waydroid can actually make use of this functionality, which is quite cool, very useful. Yeah, right. Then the fourth one is mic access in the browser. Well, maybe we might have mentioned it already. Just as a recap, microphone access is now working in the browser. It pops up trust prompt or a prompt to
Permissions dialog.
Yeah. Permissions dialog, exactly, to allow it. And you can now do voice chat over the browser, which is quite cool as well. And the last one is Google accounts. Finally, Google accounts are back. You can now log back into your Google accounts, have them sync your contacts and calendar entries. I've played around with it too. I've needed it actually for an appointment that I had. And I'm so happy that it synchronizes my Google calendar entries again. So thanks again to everyone involved here. Zenial, even though things are going a little slowly nowadays, is still getting better and better and better. And yeah, I really hope that people are going to enjoy it just as much as we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is all stuff that's coming out in OTA 21 on your Ubuntu Touch device. OTA 21 goes to testing on Wednesday as we record this. So if you have your device around, it is a great time to help us test and help us figure out what's working, what's not working with this update to Ubuntu Touch. By the way, it's December 18th, and this is episode 114. I realize I've forgotten both of these things. What's coming up in the future, though, with... before we get to 2004, there's still stuff coming in the future. What's that all about, Alfred?
Right, yeah. So what I have been working on in the Halium side of things, or on the Halium side of things, is integrating Halium a little bit better with our permission system. And one last missing piece was the camera. And so I have this Pixel 3a right here. Look at this beautiful wallpaper.
You sure do.
Like it. When I pressed
Pixel 3a was that colorful.
and you might have seen it, the Rust store prompt or the permission prompt has just opened up, and now I can either allow or deny access to the camera, which is something
Cool.
that was missing. And for Halium 7.1, I'm also planning to backport that one so that we can use it there too. But for porters out there, it requires a kernel change that you have to pull in. So keep that in mind. It will not work automatically. I've made sure that that the camera continues to work on devices where the kernel patch is not in, but the Pixel 3a and possibly the Volla phone, as soon as that change is merged, will benefit off of that. But it's not for OTA 21. It was too late in the cycle to include that one, and we needed to discuss this with all the distributions that are using Halium so that everyone is on the same page here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's nice. So we'll see camera permissions. This is something that's been missing from these devices for a while. Should work with Focal too, once we have that coming out.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, Focal, that exists. Our project to upgrade Ubuntu Touch to a newer version of Ubuntu is happening. And we have some great advancements these past 2 weeks. We finally, thank you, Guido, have meta packages, which means, you know those packages that you install in Ubuntu, like Mate-desktop, and they download everything for Ubuntu Mate? Basically, we have that now. It's in our own repository. So we're able to create images much easier, where before we would list, okay, we want to install Lomiri and Lomiri system settings and address book app. Now we just say Ubuntu Touch. Much easier. And with this, there's also been work for messaging app, address book app, and phone app, and all of their dependencies, of which there are many, including for the phone app, a new version of a phone sim has been packaged for us. So a phone sim allows you to test a phono without a real phone. And this lets you say, if you have just a virtual machine, I won't have it. If you just have a virtual machine, you can use a phone sim to send text messages to itself from virtual numbers and things like that, which is really cool. It wasn't working before. We're hoping that this version will work a little bit better. And it was upgraded in the Phono community. So we're really hoping that it's working better. Ayatana Indicators 0.9.0, we talked about it last time, is out. The indicators are all those things at the top of the screen for like your battery and your network status. Ayatana is a project separate from UBports, but helping us out. And also helping out Mate, XFCE a bit, and other communities that use the Ubuntu app indicators. 0.9.0 is out and uploaded to Debian, which means we stole all of their packaging for Debian and put it in Ubuntu Touch. Thanks, folks. And this is this last one. Rachanan headed up this project, and he likes to say, "Oh, I just took work from upstream and put it together and submitted it." But sometimes that's really important. So Ubuntu Touch is read-only by default. All of the system special stuff is not to be touched by the user. You have your own user data stuff where that's mounted read-write. You can use all of that. One of those things is the local time file, which tells the system what time zone you're in. And it was very difficult to get systemd to recognize, hey, the local time file is somewhere else right now, because otherwise it will be read-only. Well, Rachanan got some things together and submitted a patch to fix that to Ubuntu, and first submitted it to Jammy Jellyfish, which is the release coming out next in 2022, and then did a stable release update in SRU for Focal, meaning that this thing that actually fixes stuff for Ubuntu Core, so we helped Ubuntu Core a little bit, it's pretty cool, is in upstream Ubuntu, and we don't have to carry it anymore. And it's really nice for us. It's nice to see that we can do things in Ubuntu and that Ubuntu will accept them and that we're being a part of this community that we're a member of, which sometimes we don't do as well. So I was really happy to see this. Marius, do you want to talk a little bit about learning about Debian, or are you okay? You're becoming Debian.
I have become Debian. Debian has consumed me. I will now fully run Debian, including my brain. No, so I have been working on getting a Debian maintainer status and eventually a Debian developer status. I am now officially a Debian maintainer, just waiting for the key rings to be published, which, as you know, with Debian, everything takes time, so it will take time. This is something I mostly have done on my free time, been learning the Debian packaging format, and it will benefit Ubuntu Touch in the end anyway, but I've done this because it's fun. So that's one of the things that I've been working on getting. I have got in a package which has nothing to do with Ubuntu Touch, but it has been a learning package on how to package from all the way from the beginning. But yeah, but at the same time, I've been fixing some tests. For example, Content Hub, which was failing tests on Domoria 2 because of flaky risk conditions and stuff like that. I also have Qt Web Engine now finally building locally, which is a good plus. I also have Morph, pretty much done, but it depends on Qt Web Engine because of some newer stuff that is not in 5.12, so we need to update Qt Web Engine anyway.
Yes.
But what has consumed most time is definitely Qt Web Engine. It's a clusterfuck of just build systems. So yeah.
Well, there goes our monetization. We don't monetize these.
We don't monetize anyway.
I don't know of many people who say that maintaining in Debian is fun, but I'm glad that you think so. And having someone who knows how to maintain in Debian is a huge plus for our team. Not only because we know how to, not only because we build a Debian, even if it isn't Ubuntu, but because even Ubuntu likes to do things upstream in Debian first. So the more that we can get things going all the way up to Debian, the better position we'll be in. And if it helps people out
that's
using
the thing.
Debian, that's good.
That's the thing, when we get it into Debian, it will automatically be in Ubuntu because
assuming we don't build depend on something wrong or fail tests,
Sure, but then it will fail on Debian too, right? in theory, because we import every other language from there, though. But
Yeah, for sure. Geez, I had one other thing that I was thinking of. Oh yeah. Thank you to the Qt maintainer team in Debian. I realized this week that there was something a little weird with Qt declarative in Debian, and I asked in their maintainer room about it on IRC, and they had it fixed up within the week. And it's like, oh wow, it's really nice. So thank you to them if they do happen to watch. All right, why don't we talk about some apps that have been coming out on Ubuntu Touch? Yeah, Matteo Salta makes these app roundups for us, so here we go. gcompri was ported to version 2.0. We had gcompri in the store, but now it's version 2.0. The author of this app is Lionel. It's Lionel with a D, as in dog. gcompri is an app for kids games, so it's an educational app, edutainment kind of thing, and it's a bit of fun if you want to sit down a kid in front of a Ubuntu Touch device for a while and just let them learn about some things, shapes, colors. I think it has activities up through age 10. Yeah, age 2 to 10. So it's a good little app. Logviewer.
I just want to chime in on that. That's actually a pretty cool use of Ubuntu Touch too. It's not only used for people that want to have a more secure and privacy-friendly OS, but it also can be used by kids, which is really nice.
It's a great app for me with a small attention span.
It's
we also
in theory, it's just made from doll, really.
Yeah. We also have Logviewer in the store now, forked by Rudy Timmermans. There was Logviewer, but now there's Logviewer forked. We've been merging some new features, and it's easier to share logs with app developers or people developing Ubuntu Touch. This is a cool new application. New old application. Matteo Salta, hey, so a little self-insert here, ported Puzzle Master, a jigsaw puzzle including multi-touch. He says the game was written with a lot of multi-platform features, and one of them that he would like some help on is selecting a custom image so that you can make a puzzle from any picture on your device. He would like some help with that. If someone wants to check that out, please find the Ubuntu Touch app development group on Telegram. Or just ping him, Matteo Salta, in the UBports group. That's fine too. Alan had an announcement this week. This is Alan from the Mir team, that he's planning to move MirOil development to Focal, Ubuntu 2004, during the holidays and get the progress a little bit further. Marius, I hope you're listening. If anyone watching would like to help out with that or the further development of MirOil at all, contact Alan_G on our forum over at forums.ubports.com. He's likely going to be working it.
I want to say something too. If Alan is listening, please check out my branch on Foco. I have it mostly running there, Lumiri itself. So please check that out.
I think he said that he wasn't going to watch today, so you're going to have to contact him some other way.
Sure, I will do that.
He says he'll likely be working on this on Tuesday. So Marius, you've got 3 days to get this information to him. Otherwise, it will explode. Your branch will explode. It will be deleted. You've got to get this to him.
Okay. This ticking time bomb has counted down.
And I would like to thank everyone who makes Ubuntu Touch possible, including our sponsors, Smooze, Vala, and Pine64. You can find more about all of our sponsors over at ubports.com/sponsors. They really do make it possible for us to make Ubuntu Touch and have live streams like this and have them available to everyone at no charge. I'd also like to thank our community sponsors, including Kenneth Drew, Akisika Aho, Bogdan, Robin Hood, A. Thiel, James Bishop, Sergio Shvetsov, TIC SIA, Gardner and Associates Consulting, Michael Kellner, Samuel Picard, and the letter J. If you'd like to join them and have me mispronounce the letter J as well, you can go over to ubports.com/donate and find a lot of ways to get involved over there. Patreon is the only place where we take these names from, because all other lines are tax deductible sometimes, depending on your local laws. And this could be seen as giving you something in return for your donation. So, there are pros and cons to everything. But UBports.com/donate if you want to help us continue to make this operating system available to people at no charge and continue to work in the open source community. We really do appreciate everyone who makes it possible for us to do what we do. And then we have a roundup of questions today. We take these from our forum over at forums.ubports.com. We had a lot of questions today, and we couldn't take them all, unfortunately. But we've got a little roundup here for you that we think should be interesting. If your question isn't answered, you can always ask it again in the forum and support or other categories as needed. Not everything needs to be answered by 3 people who do not represent the entire community all of the time. And we do like to have opinions from other people. 1000 Topics starts us off this week with, the Pine Note is right around the corner, and I saw a Wacom pen on it. Do you plan to support Styli? That would be awesome, but of course the decision is all yours. Of course, yes, the Pine Note exists. It is running Android. Mine is, but yeah. I got this right before I kind of burned out and everything back in September-ish, so unfortunately I haven't done as much work on it as I wanted, but I think that pen support in Ubuntu Touch would be cool, because I really like computers with pens. I say as I have, 4 computers with pens directly to my right, one behind me and one on my desk. I think pen computing's cool, and I would love to have pen support in Ubuntu Touch. It all starts, though, with getting pen support in Mir. Mir has no... Hey, it's Marius. Mir has no support for the Wayland Pen protocol and the Wayland Pen tool protocols, so that would be the first place to get started with this. I would love to do it, but I'm kind of busy. So, someone likes the work on that, you would have my full support. Message me if you need anything. Alfred, can you roll the next few together?
Yeah, sure. Mr. T 100001 says or asks, I'm struggling to see which way Ubuntu Touch is going. I love the idea of being able to install it on manufacturers' orphaned hardware, such as the Nexus 7, to breathe new life into it, so it doesn't end up in landfill. Yet there seems a continual talk of upgrading to 2004 and discarding all the older hardware. Well, the thing is...
I think the next one kind of rolls into it, so if we read that one, then go.
Sure. Nero355 also asks, it would be nice to know if there's some kind of porting plan on which devices are on that list, if there's such a thing. Also, is a list of systemd incompatible phones available by now? Well,
yeah, right.
The thing is with the direction of Ubuntu Touch. It all depends on what your needs are. That's a generic answer every time, but for many people of us, and the way that Ubuntu Touch works and works on newer devices is very useful, because they would like to have something that is, for whatever reason, that is not Android and is not iOS. And it all depends on what your needs are. If your needs are specific applications that you need in your daily driver phone, like Instagram, like Twitter, like having this constant notification applications on the phone, then maybe Ubuntu Touch is not right for you. But for people who daily drive Ubuntu Touch on newer hardware, it is very capable of doing so. And doing so on newer hardware is giving a better experience. It includes better support for the hardware, and it allows to make use of the phone fully. Like, we were not able to make use of the full capabilities of the phone in the past, And now we have components in the system that allow us to make use of the best GPU performance, getting the best GPU performance out of the phone and stuff like that. So maybe the direction is not right for you. If you care about older devices, then I mean, you can step up and do the maintenance of those things, sure. But for us, the core developers, time is precious, and we need to focus our time on phones and tablets and devices specifically, just that are capable of providing what we want to provide. And we can't do everything by ourselves. So if anybody wants to make sure that older devices are still supported, please get in touch with us. Just make sure that we can make sure that you know everything that is needed to bring those devices to the next level, so to say. And maybe we can do something about that. But for now, the core plan is to provide it on sort of newer devices than, for example, the Nexus 7.
I think what you're saying there is something that I wanted to say the last time, is that we, of course, we want to support every device and every generation and everything. It's just that the core team has to focus on the OS and porting at the same time, and for us, we need to prioritize moving forward, and we sadly we don't have the time. That's it. The answer is that it's not that we don't want to. We would love to, but we just can't.
Yeah.
We need
there's certainly something to be said about how the foundation kind of works with, the communities and device manufacturers as well. That device manufacturers want to bring new devices to market. Therefore, a lot of the time that the foundation takes needs to be working on those. There is, Alfred, you actually ended up answering Mr. T's next question, so that's nice. We don't need to go over that. Mainstream apps and stuff. We did talk about this last time a little bit. We touched on it, that we feel like we have a responsibility to people to have all the devices that we have really well maintained, rather than so that they're secure and reasonably so, instead of just letting them be out there with old kernels and bad security issues. So at some point, things need to go. There will always be people, I think, who want to maintain these older things. And I hope that someday we can see an initiative for people to have these older devices running with new Ubuntu Touch, maybe not perfectly, but, someone who can maintain that infrastructure and maintain those builds so that these devices don't just fall off the face of the earth, and people who understand the risks can continue to use them. But it doesn't need to take the time that a lot of people, well, for one, donate for, and the time that people donate for other priorities. Because it's this weird kind of commercial, nonprofit community, all interchanging.
One thing I also want to bring in is that older devices is getting more and more scarce, and everyone can't get a hold of them. It's also letting the project also grow. It's hard to grow, and it's hard to get devices, really.
Right. All data that we have shows that if people can buy a device with Ubuntu Touch on it, that performs much better than anything they can install on.
Yeah, and I would also like to say that for us, or for me, I'm speaking from my own perspective specifically here, but I would rather spend my time working for people, or working on a hardware that is used by people, than something that is just sitting in a drawer and just played around with every once in a while. I would like to spend my time on something that is actually used by others and made use of by others than just something that collects dust, basically.
Yeah, and for sure, I've got a lot of devices behind me that are collecting dust. That's probably a good place to end it. Okay. This one's kind of fun. Dreamstart asks, can the Open Store or Ubuntu Touch apps run on iOS and Android? Kind of like the opposite of Andbox. Is there like Ubuntu Touch Box? I think that would be really cool, but it doesn't exist right now.
It doesn't exist. I don't see a reason why it can't exist, at least on Android.
No, absolutely not. There are KDE apps that are being built for Android right now, and those are all cute Kirigami apps. There's no reason why someone couldn't make that happen for Ubuntu Touch apps too. It'd take a while, though. It'd take a lot of time. But I do think that we have some of the highest quality software available. So, yeah. I think having it on Android would be pretty cool. Just not something that I think that we should work on personally.
I mean,
Even if it would really, really increase the adoption of Ubuntu Touch software.
True.
Like, having really good stuff in F-Droid would increase the... But then yeah. It's the same thing when people are like, why is Andbox on Ubuntu Touch? So that people can use Ubuntu Touch. Why are Ubuntu Touch apps on Android? So people use the Ubuntu Touch apps. But, yeah. I'm sure it would get that same debate going again. Like, oh, people don't have to use Ubuntu Touch because they can use it on Android. I'm going through this in my head. I can see the entire forum thread. Nah, I think it'd be cool. I don't think it's something that we can do in the next year, but it can be done. It is possible. Get on it, Dreamstart. Oh, that'd be really cool. Do you all see anything you would like to bring up before we head out today? I think that's all for me. Thank you, everyone, for your questions in the group. Making Ubuntu Touch box shouldn't be too hard, says Tanked Nix. I think it'd be pretty hard. But, I mean, compared to, like, launching a rocket to the moon, it'd be easy. Anyway.
I mean, it's probably easier than Andbox, to be honest.
Right. And also easier than launching a rocket to the moon. Well, anyway.
I personally tried that, so I can't say for sure. It might be easier, but I have tried Andbox.
True. Well, if you like what we've been talking about today and want to try Ubuntu Touch on your own device, you can head over to devices.ubuntu-touch.io to see if it's supported. If your device isn't on the list, it's going to need a custom image made for it. But you can go to the porting documentation at docs.ubports.com/porting to learn more about how to get that done. A lot of the devices that a lot of people are using today have been made by volunteers. You know, the ones that weren't made by Vala, Pine64. Pine64 stuff is maintained by volunteers. Never mind. We really do appreciate everyone who makes it possible for more people to use Ubuntu Touch, even if sometimes we're having trouble figuring out how to bring you all into the fray. But we will get there. Hey, the fun doesn't stop here. You can find us on all sorts of different social media, including Facebook, Twitter, PixelFed, Mastodon, LinkedIn, Instagram, Telegram, and Matrix. You can find links to all of those down in the video description. And if you'd like to chat with us, you can find us at #ubports:/matrix.org on Matrix or at UBports on Telegram, and our forum over at forums.ubports.com. None of these are bridged to each other. They are separate. And a huge thank you to everyone who joined us this week. And happy holidays, whatever you celebrate, or if you've already celebrated. I know there are holidays that have already ended. The most important holiday is the one that's special to you. And I'd like to thank you again for joining us. We'll see you in a couple of weeks in the new year. We'll see you next year. Bye.
Yay! Bye.